In a world full of complexity and a need for agility, the time for using event-driven architecture is now. Many systems today use what is called RESTful API. One system makes a call to another system and waits for a response. It requires that one system know about the other in advance and how to communicate with it. That approach creates dependencies and the need for a lot of coordination. Event-driven architecture changes that model. Instead of using a synchronous request and response between two systems or services, an event-driven architecture uses, well, events. I could dig into all the technical details, but the reason event-driven architecture is important is that it can reduce technical, information, and organizational dependencies that increase complexity, risk, cost, time, all the things we don't want when it comes to building, delivering, and operating systems and services. I already touched on why event-driven architecture can be valuable, because it reduces dependencies, which in turn reduces complexity, which in turn increases scalability, resilience, flexibility, all the things we do want when it comes to building, delivering, and operating systems and services. This is exactly why LinkedIn moved to event-driven architecture 10 years ago, because it was experiencing the problems that came with the increasing complexity of its expanding systems and services, as well as the increasing traffic that came with scaling the business. Going to an event-driven architecture helped them address all that. And for those of you who might be familiar, this is where the open source Apache Kafka product came from. Event-driven architecture even improves the auditability of a system because those events serve as a record of what has happened over time. And event-driven architecture is especially effective at reducing dependencies, complexity, and risk across organizational boundaries. This means that event-driven architecture can both enable change because it's less risky to make changes and protect from changes because our systems and services are decoupled and insulated from those changes. So where can event-driven architecture provide benefit? Reducing the coordination needed among teams and organizations to make changes to systems and services. Reducing the communication dependencies among systems and services, like microsystems within the same system, requests between different systems, or across different organizations. Improving resilience and scalability. Increasing speed by moving from sequential processing to parallel processing through horizontal scaling. These scenarios are pretty general, which means they're applicable to almost any domain or environment, from website analytics to fraud detection to inventory management. Now let's think about where you could benefit from using event-driven architecture. Where are you communicating from one system to another through a synchronous API call? Where is that happening across team or organizational boundaries? Where are you having challenges with scalability or stability? Where could you speed things up through parallel processing? These are just a few questions that might provide some insight about where you could apply event-driven architecture. So those are our thoughts. Is event-driven architecture something you're already using? Do you see scenarios that might benefit from using it? Are you concerned about tackling it? I'd love to hear more about your perspectives on event-driven architecture. So please reach out. I'm looking forward to it.